Hello, land friends. Today I'm Kampala Rachel from KIU. Today I'm going to be taking you through privity of a contract under contract law. So, privity of a contract is a common law principle that a contract cannot be like a party to a contract is the only person supposed to sue under that contract. But a party who is not under that contract cannot sue on that contract. That is the general rule under privity. So in the case of Dunlop versus Selfridge, where we see Selfridge sold tires to Drew Company, and they had an agreement where Drew and Company had to sell the tires on an agreed price, where they agreed on that price, and Drew Company sold the tires to Selfridge, where Selfridge also agreed to sell the tires on that same price. So Selfridge breaches the contract, and then Dunlop, who is not a party to a contract, comes up to sue on that contract, and then court held that there was no consideration moving from Dunlop to Selfridge. So that is the easy way to understand privity of a contract. But under privity of a contract, there are also like in law, we all know that there are exceptions to the general rule. Where agency refers to where a principal appoints an agent in dealing with a third party. So here we see that the principal has the power to appoint a person to act on his behalf, in simple terms, okay. So the other exception is trust. Here, under trust is where a donor appoints a trust. Okay. Trust is the other exception of privity. So under trust, this is in trust we see three parties, where there is a donor, a trustee, and a beneficiary. Where a donor is the one who appoints a trustee, and a trustee is the one who is entitled to keep the property on behalf of the beneficiary. So a trust, in simple terms, is entered into for the beneficiary, for the enjoyment of the beneficiary, even if the beneficiary was not a party to the contract. So there is a case of Beswick versus Beswick, where a man had a contract with the nephew on and they had an agreement that if the man dies, the wife will take over. So the nephew will be paying the wife every week. But when the man died, the nephew did not pay. So court held that the wife would not recover the payment on the husband's behalf as an administrator. So that is also an exception of privity. So the third exception under privity is assignment. So under assignment we see two parties, the assignee and the assigner. Now let me give you an example. For example, A lends B money, and then A has a debt with C. So A can assign C to demand B. So that is where the assignment comes in. C was not part of a contract, but then we see A assigning him to demand on that contract. So under assignment, the assignee is entitled to the benefit and is also entitled to the burdens of that agreement. So once he allows, that is assignment under privity. So the fourth exception of privity of a contract is negligence. So under negligence, tort of negligence refers to a civil wrong where a defendant has a duty to take care for the plaintiff. So under this exception, we see that the defendant has a duty to take care. For example, in the case of Denog versus Stevenson, where a friend bought Denog a ginger beer, and when Denog took it, when she was about to finish, she saw snails, like remains of snails under the bottle. So she sues the manufacturers. So court held that the manufacturers had a duty to take care for donors. The last exception under privity of a contract is collateral contracts. Let me give you the case of Jacqueline Pierce versus Dettol Products. Under this case, the Jacqueline Pierce went and had a conversation with Dettol Products, where the Dettol Products told the Jacqueline Pierce that the product they were going to buy was good. So when they and then Dettol Products referred them to buy those products. So after, Jacqueline Pierce sends the what? The painters to go buy the paint. So when the painters were buying the paint, they had a contract with the Dettol Products, where they asked for a warranty of 10 to 7 years for the paint. But then they were given they had the contract with Dettol Products. After the contract, they went and applied the paint on the paint where they're supposed to apply the paint. So the paint it only lasted for 3 months. So Jacqueline Pierce came up to sue Dettol Products, and then court held that they had a right, they would sue on a collateral contract, since the contract was between the painters and the Dettol Products. Thank you. That's what I had for you today, and